Hello everyone, this is Sam from Digital Audio Class, and these are supplemental lessons. They will not be graded or take the place of classroom assignments. These are merely supplemental lessons for students to continue their learning during school closure. In our video lessons, we have been continuing to learn how to construct a song based on the moods. Today's focus is aggressive. This mood is particularly an example and type of music to listen to during a workout or maybe while working on something to be focusing on and be driven with energy. My approach on today's lesson is big energy and samples of loud dynamics, which will give better examples of aggression, and followed by some quick arrangements and mix downs. So let's dive in. And we have some samples here. Let's go and preview some of those sounds. I have that really loud horn and one of these synths that I'll be using, as well as with a loud 808. For those of you guys who are not listening to this video through nice headphones or a loud bigger system, I fully advise you guys to either use A, headphones, or B, just a bigger speaker to hear bigger speakers to hear it, because it's probably not going to come through clearly on smaller speakers. So let's go ahead and start with like a drum beat. Let's maybe choose a tempo. Let's choose like 140. That's probably a good one. Yep, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and start with some drums. Let's put one there. Chop the samples up. And now let's throw in some snares here. I'm going to use more of like a snappier snare and followed by layering the snare with another one. Maybe this one. Alright, so that's pretty good so far, and now let's go ahead and start making some melodies here and stuff. Just going to review some of the sounds. I'm going to play around with this horn sound and make some melodies out of it. Oh, so what I did there is, as you notice how the change of the quality is, that's what's happening with the audio quality, and the reason being is because I'm turning off the warp mode here. Make sure to do that if your sound just kind of sounds a little bit odd and you want to make sure that you want to keep the original quality of the sound. Alright, now let's go ahead and input this synth. And let's match up the pitch here, especially to, I'm not exactly going to mash up the pitch, it's the same pitch as the top one, but I'm going to make it in a way where it's harmonizing with other things. Alright, that sounds pretty good so far. And what I'm going to do now is maybe separate these apart. For this moment, I'm going to have this synth turned off for now. Why don't we just go ahead and name all these real quick. So kick, snare, snare 2, horn, whatever, and the synth. There we go. That's what we got so far. Now let's go ahead and input some hi-hats and percussions. Okay, now we're going to put some 808s in here, so let's go ahead and try that. That's what I prepared, so that's what we're going to use. Now I'm going to use my ears to match up the same pitch as the synth, the horns here. So I'm gonna put it an octave higher and use my ears to match up that pitch. So here we go. So that seems pretty good. What I did here is transpose an octave higher and then bring it down a little bit lower because it's pretty audible that way. And once you have the correct pitch, just put it octave lower once again, and now we have a perfect form of sound. Like, there we go. So it sounds very punchy, and what makes it very punchy and loud and aggressive is that this 808 and this kick is happening at the same time. So therefore, the huge impact of those both sounds combining, as well as this horn, also taking up the higher frequency of the whole entire arrangement here. They all match up and they make like a full sound all together. So let's go ahead and continue to add these 808s. Okay, now we have a 16 bar loop here. So I'm going to copy and paste the hi-hats here. And so we're going to start off with like pretty empty as a whole in the beginning right now, because we just want to introduce the kick, snare, and the horns that's happening, which is pretty busy along with this 808 we just made. So let's hear it back, both of them together. Alright, so now that we have that, I am now going to copy and paste this and duplicate it. And now we are going to use this synth part here. So let me go ahead and copy and paste here. And what we're going to do with horns is we're going to back it off a little bit. So we're going to have the horns happen. We're going to let the horns happen a little bit less, and somehow make it so that the synths actually correspond with along with the horns here. So okay, so now that we have that long tail of horns, any of the empty spaces where we can fit in this synth. So let's go and try to place those around. Okay, so that's not really working out for me, and I want to actually be able to use this as an instrument. So I'm going to load in a sampler, and I'm going to drag the sample in here. So now as we press the letter M, we can use this as a MIDI function and also be able to use it on our keyboard. That's the pitch. And that sounds pretty boring, so let's go ahead and add some more details like saturator to out the to make it a little bit stronger. Excuse me for making it so loud. And then now we're going to put a reverb to give it a little bit more dimension. Let's blend it in with the rest of the tracks. Okay, that sounds pretty good, and I think I'm just going to record that actually. Let's go ahead and hit the metronome, hit record. Alright, now recorded this little arrangements, and once we go in here, we can go ahead and start to arrange a little bit more. And what we're going to do is generally select all of this, and then right click and hit Quantize or Control U as a shortcut. Alright, now we have this full thing. What I'm going to do now is make an intro out of it. Let's go ahead and put that there, and maybe we can add some claps here. Maybe that's what we can use. Maybe this is pretty good. just going to make like a straight, simple pattern, which will basically be used as a drive to get the mood going. So it goes, oh, that's a little bit too fast and too often. That's what I'm looking for. Yep. Okay, I just simply made like a little build here, and then now we're going to use some elements from either of these 8 bar or 16 bars, and then basically just kind of glue the intro and the arrangements all together to make it seem more blending. So here we go. Let's add some reverb on those claps so it just doesn't sound so dry all by itself. Okay, now I'm just gonna find some elements to make as like a riser. Let's see if we can find something. Maybe this thing. This sounds pretty good. And make the opposite of that. Alright, now we have just about most of the things done here. We have the intro, the build, and then just kind of like a quick transition. And right into the drop. So now we're going to do like a quick mix right here. So we're going to continue with the audio effects, and let's go ahead and put in a glue compressor. Let's go ahead and test this out. That's good there. EQ. Let's go ahead and drastically cut this off. Pretty good there. Maybe a saturator to give us some more punch. Sounds pretty good. Now with the limiter, we're going to end that there. And then we're going to copy that, paste it here, and adjust it accordingly. Seems pretty good. Let's go ahead and copy this. The next one. That's pretty good. Alright, now let's blend it in all together. Now let's finish the hi-hat. Actually, this is a clap. That's alright. There we go. And now the horns. Just soft sign will be great. there. And then now let's work on the 808s. Put the saturate in there. Yep, on the hard curve. Make it a little bit more punchy and exciting. But at the same time, I'm going to get rid of all the details because there's so much more in the track that just those things. All right, so now we have most of the things done here, including like most of the elements with the mix downs as well. So here's the intro, the build, as well as with a little bit of riser and the beat drops. So all the elements that we used within this project already seems like at its maximum dynamics it can be. For example, this horn here, which is really nice and powerful. On top of that, we added the saturator, which basically adds on top of the energy of the horns naturally, and it saturates it even more and distorts it pretty much. And now we're doing the same thing on the sub bass, and what we're doing here with a saturator is we're adding the drive, so we're basically giving it more power and more basically the word aggressiveness to how much power you're adding to the saturator. So now what we're doing here is just basically analyzing and let's see what we can do here to maybe benefit the track a little more. Maybe like a light volume sound would be great. Oh, the kicks were. Let's maybe add some like fills here. I think that would help. Fills are usually good to place around either at the end of 8 measures or 16 measures. So over here, I think I'm just going to make like 8 measure turnarounds. Let's try that. Enjoy those, and so we're going to copy the 16 and put it because it's basically a similar thing. So that sounds great so far. Now this definitely represents the idea of aggression as far as like the dynamics go. So now, one last thing is let's go ahead and add some sidechain compression to this thing. So let's go ahead and add the compressor into the 808s. Now let's go ahead and sidechain, put the signal from kicks, and then now let's go ahead and make it happen. All right, now let's listen to it. Great. Oh man, this sounds all well together so far. So why don't we go ahead and take a final listen to this whole track now. All right, so that concludes everything of this lesson. Um, to recap what we went over through, we actually practiced over the idea of the mood that's aggressive, and we have used the sound elements which definitely show high and intense dynamics, such as like loud fortes here, and a lot of these drum elements and 808s are also very like up in your face, which actually represents the mood of aggression. So that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.